Succession has been a serious topic of discussion since the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen, with Satoru Gojo being the very first to push this idea as a pivotal piece of its narrative. So with the most recent shakeup in JJK's story, looking into this idea more in depth has never been more important. With this closer inspection, one thing became quite clear. The necessity of successors for certain characters is something that is important for the future of this world's story. More specifically, there are two other characters that have to be discussed here, but for now, let's begin with Satoru Gojo and his lineup of potential successors: Megumi, Yuta, and Hikari. Megumi is the first character introduced into the story that can be seen as a successor for Satoru Gojo because of his potential and relationship to the man. Being the closest student to Gojo, he was more than likely conditioned to be exactly what Gojo was looking for. Unfortunately, the more laissez-faire approach Gojo had to training him cost him a significant amount of maturity as a sorcerer. Compound this with Megumi's selfless attitude as a sorcerer, and holes can be seen forming in their teacher-successor dynamic. The best way to explain Megumi is as a good on paper successor, a sorcerer with an amazing curse technique and ability to reach for greater heights. That is all well and good, but Megumi's lack of a real mentor and selfless disposition makes it impossible for him to fulfill his role as Gojo's successor. To expand upon this mentorship angle, a few examples are important to note. Toto's instruction boosted Yuji's strength, and his training during those 19 days prior to fighting Sukuna boosted him astronomically. Maki's wrestling matches against Mio gave rise to her full awakening, and Miguel's training pushed Yuta to achieve a special grade level again. Every one of Jujutsu High's heavy hitters received proper mentorship, which transformed them into monsters except for one outlier: Kinji Hikari. Although Hikari's physical capabilities are presumably comparable to Yuji, Maki, and Yuta's, his versatility as a combatant is exceedingly limited. His domain expansion is what makes him as relevant of a threat as he is. There's no doubt he is strong and abnormally lucky, but that's all it is. Hikari's virtually infinite curse energy and automatic reverse curse technique is reliant on something unreliable. Realistically, probability will not always be on his side to save him. Seeing Hikari as a successor or someone who will surpass special grade levels of power which Gojo himself was quote-unquote confined to is very unlikely. However, Hikari is capable of what Megumi is not by having a heart for selfish behavior. He's willing to reinvent himself unlike his junior, but his curse technique lacks versatility and reliability. Both weaknesses of Megumi and Hikari stop them from advancing towards a proper successor role of Gojo's. But that is where Yuta comes in. Yuta Akutsu since the Shibuya incident, an oh so infamous statement during his fight in Sendai Colony, and a literal blood relation have set him up to be Gojo's one and only true successor. His mindset is whatever he needs it to be so he can achieve victory. He's selfless to the point it's selfish. His curse technique offers a versatility in combat only a seldom few can counter or keep up with, and he can feasibly reach his full potential, and is not climbing to some impossible height. In contrast to Megumi, who's been tasked with taming Maharaga, a task no Ten Shadows user has ever achieved before him. He's the perfect successor to Gojo, and the narrative development of him taking over Gojo's body is the epitome of his succession and ultimately throws the theme into question. What does it mean to be a hill to a mountain? Yes, the hill is high, but it could never hope to reach the heights of a mountaintop. At their core, Yuta and Gojo are remarkable sorcerers, but one stands head and shoulders taller than all others, which begs an important question. What is Jujutsu Society without Satoru Gojo? Does succession even matter when he's alive? Does a successor even matter if a being like Sukuna did not exist from the outset? Yuta's decision answers this question, and the answer is no. I don't think it matters for Gojo to have a successor because he's always going to be the best thing Jujutsu Society could produce, but I guess Satoru Gojo couldn't have known that, could he? In much the same way Toji Fushiguro could not have known another being like him was going to be born someday. Toji Fushiguro's existence is an affront to sorcery, a human without curse energy escaping the world's power system which binds many people who cannot use it as well as others. Toji is a character who did not care about succession explicitly or implicitly. Selling off his child to the clan that abused and looked down on him was pretty evident of that. Children are the legacy parents leave behind, successors to their ideals and beliefs because they impart values, morals, and expectations upon their children. Toji gives that up completely so his son can be a sorcerer that will thrive instead of struggling to gain gain footing. Togi did not care about a legacy he could interact with, but one that never knew of his existence, which is what Maki is. From her first appearance, Maki has been a character made out to be Toji's ghost come back to life. She's received the same heavenly restriction and can handle similar levels of cursed spirits as Togi did in his younger years. Both hail from the Zenin clan, and Megumi states Togi is like a fully realized Maki. The build-up for Toji's second coming is something the world was not ready for. Another being with such overwhelming physicality who could kill anyone without the need of cursed energy. Thankfully, Maki Zenin is not some morally bankrupt character who is selfish and will do whatever she wants because she wants to. This difference in ethics and morals ensures these characters are not seen as female or male versions of one another. A fine line has been drawn in the sand to solidify a difference. Yes, Maki is a successor, but she cares for her friends and allies. She's responsible, and while can be harsh at times, retains her compassion. Despite slaughtering her entire clan who attempted to kill her first, she's kept her strength to defend others. Her subdued personality later on is clearly because of her sister's passing, but also a connection to Togi, who lost his wife. Loss fundamentally changed both of these characters, shaping them into who they would be for the rest of their lives. Whereas Togi wallowed from woman to woman with nothing to fight or live for, Maki found herself worthy amongst friends and allies that respected her power. Losing what they held most dear affected them differently, but the resulting similar physical appearance and physical capabilities leads many to see them as similar, if not copies of one another, though as explained, they are only similar in appearance and capabilities. There's another thing to address when speaking on this topic in regards to Togi, which is why does it matter for him to be a part of this? To answer this, his type of heavenly restriction as spoken about by Yuki could be a way to fully eradicate cursed energy. Therefore, Maki's existence represents this possibility as well. Unlike Yuta, she is a way to break away from cursed energy, not a symbol of what it can produce. Nevertheless, she serves to be a shining example of what humanity can be if given a chance to explore heavenly restrictions possibilities. One such possibility is its strength being used for the entertainment of a certain four-armed sorcerer unwanted by his mother that everyone knows and hates. Sukuna has no need for a successor. That much is true. He's expressed zero interest in training up someone to succeed him because he doesn't believe anyone can or should overcome his power or ability, and he is correct from what we've seen. The only person who could have been compared to him and held his insane potential perished before he could even cry. From his conception, Sukuna has consumed others so he can be the last one standing, overcoming others thanks to their lack of power comparable to him. Well, everyone except for one. Yuji Itadori. Yuji is Sukuna's spiritual successor. Much like the two mentioned prior, there are some commonalities shared amongst these three characters. Yuta, who's related to Gojo, has spectacular curse technique and poses arguably the biggest threat to Sukuna, only second to Gojo. Maki, who's related to Togi, has the soul split katana and his same physical capabilities. Yuji, who is related to Sukuna via brother soul shenanigans, has his slash techniques and the same potential as him. Yuji has already demonstrated a large part of Sukuna's behavior even. He's devoured his own sibling simply to survive and thrive in this final battle, like Sukuna devoured his own sibling. In the same way Sukuna learned to replicate Maharaga's space cutting attacks and learned to use reverse curse technique on his brain after seeing it done once, Yuji has done seemingly the impossible by hitting several black flashes like he can do it whenever he wants. A feat no one has ever done despite hitting black flashes in succession being easier after hitting the first. Having said all this, why is a person with Sukuna's abilities alive in the present? Gojo was needed to protect humanity, and Togi offered a way for humanity to rid themselves of cursed spirits. What does Yuji's role really mean? Well, there's two ways to answer this question. One is because a Sukuna-type sorcerer on humanity's side will be needed to replace Yuta if he passes on. Someone with immense potential needs to exist for humanity to stand a chance against cursed spirits more powerful than the average graded sorcerers can handle. The second answer is for Sukuna's legacy to continue. Fear of a sorcerer like him will need to be prevalent in this world for Sukuna to continue to have an influence even when he's not there. Like his role as a vessel, Yuji exists for Sukuna's existence to be felt and feared. However, given that Yuji stands with sorcerers, one could say that he was Gojo's one true successor, because if he is to be comparable in possible strength to Sukuna, like the two of them, he will actually transcend the title of special grade. It's also a bit of cruel irony for Yuji to be related to the person he hates most and inherit his techniques to use against him. It's nothing too major in the way of his successor status, but it's another thing to consider when speaking about this topic. All of these characters have befit their roles as successors in one way or another, whether the story has built them up as such, made them mirrors, or copied curse techniques. Succession in JJK has been a very prevalent theme throughout its run and has similarly been tragic for its successors. Yuta had to become a monster like Gojo. Maki had to lose the one she loved most to awaken. Yuji had to consume his brothers and watch the last one pass on to become anywhere near as threatening enough to face Sukuna. In the end, these three fulfill their respective roles whether knowingly or unknowingly, and have been cursed one way or another to fill those empty shoes left behind by their predecessors. They've endured sacrifice and heartache to become who they were modeled after. That is Jujutsu Kaisen's theme of succession.